Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block, on a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At Enchain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts, basically ones that can run operating systems. That's basically all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Howdy people, it looks like we are live at 5, rocking and rolling. Kilobytes per second on OBS is in the red at the moment, but it was a green a second ago, so if it's in the green it's good, if it's in the red it's a no-go, but we're gonna keep on going anyway. Just keep on pushing through. I think I got this. Right, so for any newbies watching the show for the first time, because there will be thousands piling in soon, yes indeed. The reason we broadcast on Twitch is because YouTube have taken 2 of my channels down already. Then they were preventing me from editing my shows. Then they were deleting episodes. I was just like, you know what? This is absolutely insane. So now we broadcast on Twitch every day live at 5 from wherever in the world that I am. We upload the trailers onto YouTube and then put the full episode up onto Streamanity. But obviously I want to give as many people the opportunity as I can to catch the live show for free, because that's just me. And if you want to go on to Streamanity, you can upload your own content and set your own fee dependent on what you think about the quality. Yes, indeed. So let's just jump straight into it. Always love starting off with this screen. Never, ever get bored of it. I'm quite enjoying using this screen at the moment because I can just simply rub it in to shitcoiners for being so dumb. Like literally the amount of dumbness that is in this space right now is mind-boggling, because it's a new frontier. Like new people are coming in. Every man and his dog is throwing their hat into the ring, wanting to take part, saying they've got an idea on it. And it's like, yeah, it is a little bit confusing because we, in our lifetimes, we have never had a commodity money before. We have always used, dirty dollars, filthy fiat, in other words, which started off as a token on gold. It was it was gold that gave the dollar a price, whereas now it's the dollar that gives Bitcoin a price. Bitcoin is built on top of the fiat currency that this world's overlords insist that we use. So good luck with them trying to insist that we hand over our Bitcoin, just like they wanted us to hand over the gold initially in 1933. So for anybody who doesn't believe me, just going to bring this up quickly. Here we go. Wiki 1933 gold. Here we go. Just going to have a quick history lesson here. So this was put out by the US government in May 1st, 1933, and it says here, under executive order of the president, all persons are required to deliver on or before May 1st, 1933, all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates now owned by them to the Federal Reserve Bank branch or agency, or to any member bank of the Federal Reserve System. It's like, okay, well, do we get anything in return for that? But well, it appears not. But if you don't, you get a criminal penalty for violation of executive order. A $10,000 fine in 1933. That's huge. Or 10 years in prison. Or both. Provided by Section 9 of this order. I mean, like, honestly, what the hell? Just give us your gold. Like, not many people believe this. But the reason they wanted your gold, or not their gold back then, is because they knew that they were going to start massively inflating the dollar. As in, like, printing hundreds of thousands of it, which they knew would rocket the price of gold up. And as the price goes up, demand would also increase as well. And they would just, we can't have people wanting gold or demanding gold, because we need people to use this dirty dollar that we are printing and that we have control over. Because once we have control over it and everybody's using the dirty dollar, well, we've got them by the short and curlies. Yes, indeed. Now, the reason nobody wanted a central bank governing them was because central banks had a reputation for going into whatever region had a central bank, they would cause an absolute economic disaster. And this is no different to what happened, in the Great Depression. I think that was like 1929. And again, this executive order followed that, but they were just simply using it as an excuse, like a cover. Oh, we've had this Great Depression, and so therefore now we're going to confiscate your gold, because gold's the problem. No, it wasn't the problem. But what are you meant to do? These people have got all the power at their disposal. They pay everybody off. They can do whatever they want. If we no longer have a medium of exchange, we are dependent on the handouts of a socialist or a communist, a single party state, effectively, and we're locked in, which is where they want us. It's all about power and control, and this is why a Bitcoin is so important, because for the first time in our generation, it gives us sovereignty over our money, and the sovereignty is backed by the value of sovereignty over our digital data. Hence, we have all these large corporations at the moment simply taking our data from us and doing with it as they please. So first of all, it was 1933 that they made this executive order, and now we're just going to go to my Medium site. So again, if anybody wants to brush up on their a little bit of knowledge on Bitcoin, I would highly recommend just going to satoshi.medium.com. Pretty much my life's academic work here, because none of this knowledge is anywhere out there. I think I'm the only person actually writing about the fundamentals. You hear all these shitcoin talking about fundamentals, talking about the word fundamental. They have no clue what fundamentals are at all. They just want to, it just sounds like, oh, that's a substantial word, we'll just throw that in there. I have a fundamental understanding, and because you know absolutely naff all, you're going to believe me. Whereas like someone like me, I'm like listening to them going, mate, you're talking absolute shit, mate. Like absolute shit. But the article that we're going to go to here is about Bretton Woods. When that comes, here we go, check it out. So, first of all, 1933, the government taking all their gold away from people. And now we have this. So I said here, a Bitcoin from Bretton Woods to blockchain. So I said here, the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944 established a new global monetary system by replacing the gold standard with the US dollar. And as we have found out, the gold standard was initially created by Isaac Newton. So let's remind ourselves of this one. Here we go. Isaac Newton, gold. Gold money. Here we go. And then doesn't hurt to brush up on this 1 iota. So let's see when this was. They got any dates here again? So anyway, so it says Newton. Oh, here we go. So 1969. So in 1969, Newton was offered the post of Warden of the Mint. It was supposed to be a cushy sinecure, but it took him away from bucolic Cambridge and hurled him into the teeming social world of London. No one, certainly not the lazy master of the Mint, realised that no post would be a sinecure with Newton occupying it. Newton tore into the job. He recognised the Mint, bought new equipment, and used his alchemical knowledge of metallurgy. He brought order out of chaos. The master of the Mint died after 3 years. Newton got his job as the ruler of Britain's reserve currency. He instituted a shift to the gold standard. The shilling, pound and the pence were refined so that 21 shillings and 6 pence would stay equivalent to 1 gold guinea. So it was 1969. So like 3 years later, that would have been 1970. 1702. And then, for the first time ever, since then, effectively, 1944 was the first time we ever had like a new one. So that had gone on for about 250 years, approximately. We had a gold standard. So this is why this Bretton Woods Agreement is so significant. So the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944 established a new global monetary system by replacing the gold standard with the US dollar. Fiat currencies have no fundamental value, which is why it only has a value within a closed market, which is a specific economic area. It only has velocity due to the base rate of interest applied to it by central banks, which is enforced by laws of that country. The issue with having to apply an interest rate means that the interest must already be within the existing economy, which means adding the money supply with more money given out at interest. So whereas gold before was just simply divided, now the interest has to be got from this from something that's already in the economy, and it can't be in the economy because only the banks can print it. So therefore the supply just has to keep inflating, giving out more and more money at interest. You know, and as we know, it just simply leads to economic disaster because the more money you print, the more prices go up, and as prices go up, people just simply can't afford to pay. That's how it works. So this always leads to economic booms and busts, as the interest rate means that cash is a negative asset, and therefore people and companies are always looking to exchange it for positive assets such as shares, property, antiques, precious metals, art, etc., which inevitably lead to market bubbles. These bubbles are a direct result of people and companies looking for places to store their value, which creates overconsumption and waste of resources. It's these occurring anomalies that clearly indicate a fault with the system. Gold established itself as the world's first globally recognized medium of exchange because of the characteristics it possessed that enabled it to facilitate trade. The ability to trade is the most valuable thing in the world and is essential for the creation of wealth in society. National security also runs parallel to economic prosperity. Money was invented to facilitate trade more efficiently by creating a pre-weighted gold-backed medium of exchange referred to as currency. However, the issue with currency is that it doesn't allow for the increase in its value as the economy grows and more parties come into trade. Whereas gold was divided further, currency is inflated, which causes its devaluation. Ironically, inflation was the trade-off to making trade more efficient and allowed for acceleration in economic prosperity due to the efficiencies of money. Money should be deflationary, like gold. A deflationary currency solves the issues of pollution that come with overconsumption, as people would then be less willing to part with a positive valued asset used as a medium of exchange. Manufacturers would have to compete on quality rather than quantity to encourage consumers to part with their money. A deflationary currency would also help stabilize the economy and businesses, because their goods and services will be traded for a medium of exchange that either maintains or increases in value. Currently, businesses not only have to tackle the interest rate placed on the money by the banks, but also its inflation at around 2 to 3% per annum. Well, yeah, usually. Now it's like 10 to 15. Compounded over time, this has a significant detrimental effect on businesses' balance sheet, which further reduces their chances of survival. Micropayments enable opportunity costs to be factored into things such as litter pollution, which could be a catalyst for a whole new host of positive environmental ventures. Blockchain technology allows for digital data to be immutable. Since almost all data is now digital, it means that Bitcoin and blockchain are likely to start a digital revolution. A Bitcoin will be purchased to save corporations millions, if not billions of USD in future data efficiencies. As the Bitcoin blockchain is a decentralized distributed network with no central point of authority, it allows for the ownership of the data by individuals and corporations who upload it. Or upload to it. The blockchain that follows the Bitcoin protocol, defined by Satoshi Nakamoto in his white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, is called Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, known as Bitcoin SV, and as the ticker symbol BSV. So that was what was really important about the Bretton Woods Act. So that was 1944, and now check this out. We're now going to go to the Nixon shock of 1971. Here we go. Nixon shock, 1971. The Nixon shock of 1971. Here we go. So we'll close that one. The Nixon shock was a series of economic measures undertaken by the United States President Richard Nixon in 1971 in response to an increasing inflation, the most significant of which were wage and price freezes, surcharges on imports, and the unilateral cancellation of the direct international convertibility of the United States dollar to gold. So in 1944, the significance of 1944 was that obviously after the Second World War, pretty much America had all the world's gold, because everybody was basically asking America for the help and buying things from them with the use of gold, because it was the only real sort of like internationally recognized medium of exchange. So because America had all the gold, they basically had the world by the short and curlies, and they were just like, right, well, now you're all going to use the dollar, and it's the dollar that's going to be backed by gold, so you don't have to worry about it. But then, when the world realized that America was just simply inflating the dollar into infinity because they could do what they want, there was nobody regulating them. It was literally the greatest con in history. They were like, yeah, we've got all the gold, and now we're going to print all this money, and there ain't nothing you can do to stop us, and you can't even check up on us. So then it was the French that were just like, hold on a minute. We don't believe that you've got enough gold to back up all the dollars that you're printing. We want gold. We don't want any of your dirty dollar anymore. And it was that caused the Nixon shock. When Nixon was just like, actually, you're not getting your gold, mate, and you're just going to have to suck it. And that's why they called it the Nixon shock. Like, unbelievable. So while Nixon's action did not formally abolish the existing Bretton Woods system of international financial exchange, the suspension of one of its key components effectively rendered the Bretton Woods Act inoperative. While Nixon publicly stated his intention to resume direct convertibility of the dollar after reforms to the Bretton Woods system had been implemented, all attempts at reform proved unsuccessful. By 1973, the Bretton Woods system was replaced de facto by the current regime based on freely floating fiat currencies, which is basically sort of everything's like now backed by the dollar, and they can print as much dollar as they want. You know, I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. We've already seen how they do all these off-balance sheet transactions, and the Federal Reserve is a private institution. Like, it's got nothing to do with the government. I mean, can you imagine? Like, you know, if you're a criminal, like, what do criminals want? Criminals want money. Like, getting your hands on the Federal Reserve is the criminal's holy grail. Like, literally, yeah. So now we own the purse strings to the world's most powerful nation, armed to the hilt. We can print what we want. There is nothing anyone can do. Like, literally, you know. And again, like, it all comes down to money. But again, now these people can literally do whatever they want. They have carte blanche, literally, which causes all of this shit. And as I've said on the shows previously, where there are problems, there is money to be printed. So all they do is they cause a load of shit and they have to print a load of money to persuade people that they need to fix it. Yeah, that's why they go around invading countries, because commies. Oh, well, communists, yeah, we've got to defeat communists over there. Oh, let's print loads of money and start a war. You know, problems make money printers go brr, should we say. You know, I mean, fiat currencies are so destructive. And not only are they destructive in terms of, like, you know, financially incentivized to create problems, they do cause boom and bust because of the inflation. And as we've heard previously, when an economy or an empire is about to collapse, you'll often find that its currency gets debased. Now, in the fiat currency system that we're using, debasement appears in the form of inflation. And as we have seen, more money has been printed in the last 6 months than it has in the last 200 years. It's absolutely outrageous. Hence this World Economic Forum's economic reset. But what does that mean? That just means smashing all these small business owners. You know, because effectively what they're trying to do is they're trying to stop people from borrowing, and so they're trying to stop banks from lending. So the way to do it is you put the interest rates up. But if you put the interest rates up, because everybody is edge dwelling from the last financial crisis of 2008, people are just going to lose their homes. And they saw what happened to Margaret Thatcher when she did that. She literally, it was a witch hunt. You know, it's political and career suicide. So what's the point in committing political and career suicide when your whole life is about your job? You know, it's ridiculous. So now they need a reason to do it. Which is why they're saying, oh, wow, yes, we've got a perfect clear excuse now, or you know, that's a perfect time for an economic reset. So basically what they're saying is there's a perfect time to absolutely screw everybody. Like, literally screw everybody. Like, think about it. If this issue that we were in was like, you know, like a bird flu, H1N1, that literally killed more people than died in like the Second World War, you know, something crazy like that. You know, do you think that they'd want to be talking to their citizens about economic resets? It's just like, mate, I don't give a monkeys about your economic reset. There's people dying when they get in this thing. You know, like, why are you talking about it now? You know, it just stinks. It absolutely stinks, and it all comes down to money. The whole thing comes down to money. Oh, but yeah, that's my rant over. So yeah, a little bit of history for us then. But also, we're just going to talk about the effects of inflation here, and it's quite nicely titled, this other article that I wrote. It's about why Bitcoin is likely to become the most valuable thing in the world. So that should prick up most people's attention. So let's have a quick read of this. Now, this explains inflation. So I titled this on Bitcoin, why it's likely to become the most valuable thing in the world. So trade is the most valuable thing in the world, which means Bitcoin is likely to become the most valuable thing in the world. The Inca Empire appreciated the aesthetics of metal. Gold was considered to be sweat from the sun and silver tears from the moon. They used labor as the unit of value, just like the ideology of a communist society. However, in 1532, inspired by the legend of El Dorado, the realm of the gold-covered king, Francisco Pizarro travelled across the Atlantic Ocean from Spain with his fellow conquistadors to defeat the Inca army at the Battle of Cacamara and found the Cerro Rico, which translates from Spanish to rich mountain. Over a period of Spanish rule lasting 250 years, more than 2 billion ounces of silver were extracted. The Incas couldn't understand why the Europeans appeared to have such a lust for gold and silver. What the Incas failed to realize was that this metal could be made into money, a store of value, a unit of account, and meant portable power. This story is a metaphoric example for those who don't understand what Bitcoin is today. Those who say that Bitcoin has no intrinsic or fundamental value don't understand that its starting point was decentralized, which means its network has grown over a period of 10 years without any central point of authority or control, which is key to its fundamental value. They also fail to understand that the entire world of global commerce runs on digital networks, which makes digital data extremely valuable and too precious to lose. The Bitcoin blockchain is the world's first and only way of storing data immutably due to the decentralized nature of its starting point and the growth of its distributed ledger secured through proof of work. Put simply, blockchain is an infinite mathematical sum, which means the data storage capacity is also infinite. Therefore, what's fundamental to its utility is the speed and the cost at which data can be uploaded to it. This is called scaling. It is Bitcoin that is used to upload this data and make it immutable. Once uploaded to its blockchain network known as Metanet, the data can be accessed in the same way that data can be accessed on the internet. The only difference being that the data has been uploaded to a decentralized distributed network rather than a corporate server. The Metanet has no central point of authority or control, which means all data uploaded to it paid for via Bitcoin now legally belongs to the person or company that paid for it. And then I go on about digital data for a little bit. But then I just need to, we'll just carry on here with Francisco Pizzario's venture. So I said here, despite Francisco Pizzario's successful conquest of South America, which made Spain and its empire exceptionally rich, it couldn't prevent Spain's economic and political decline. The Spanish had dug up so much silver to finance their wars of conquest that the metal itself suffered an extraordinary decline in its value. The increase in the supply of silver didn't make Spain richer, it simply made prices higher, and as an increased quantity of money chased the same amount of goods. The lesson the Spanish and the rest of the world learned from this was that money is only worth what others are willing to give in exchange for it. Therefore, it is not the amount of money that generates economic prosperity and wealth, it is the ability to trade. This is why, despite striking it rich, Spain and its empire collapsed, whereas London, England became a nation of shopkeepers and ended up as a centre for global trade, along with New York, USA being a financial powerhouse of the world. Bitcoin is a medium of exchange. It's a tool that enables, encourages and accelerates the facilitation of trade. Trade is the most valuable thing in the world, which means Bitcoin is likely to become the most valuable thing in the world. Now that point there about how they dug up, how many ounces of silver was that? Oh my goodness, it was like 250 or 2 billion ounces. So a period of Spanish rule lasting 250 years, they dug up more than 2 billion ounces of silver were extracted. So they dug up all that silver. Now that is a classic example of inflation. This is what inflation is doing. It brought down Spain. It saw to the end of their, political and economic decline because of the amount of silver that was brought back. Now, this is what's happening right now with the amount of money that is being printed. It is literally kicking the can down the road. It is inevitable as to what is going to happen. Like literally, like Bitcoin cannot come soon enough. Yeah. So yeah, that's the example that I wanted to give you there of money. So a little bit of history there. And as we've known, like throughout history, people want wealth and power and all that kind of stuff, and they do not like it when somebody tries to take their power away. And so, what happened with Bitcoin? And remember, this is absolutely key. I cannot stress this enough. So, the first 10 years of Bitcoin's existence were dedicated to the dilution of the centralized starting point. the dilution and neutral growth of the network. Now that period finished when the keys to the Tulip Trust were returned to Dr. Craig Wright on the, officially relinquished from the Tulip Trust on the 1st of January last year, 2020. And they were received by him on the 14th of January. In fact, it was Tuesday, the 14th of January, 2020, which we know as Tulip Tuesday. Now, all of these shitcoiners are saying, oh, Bitcoin's been around for 10 years now. It's not going anywhere. It's as solid as a rock now, blah, 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 blah. They do not understand this. Satoshi Nakamoto could not come out and prove who he was because it would have discredited the neutral growth. It's the neutral growth over the 10 years, the period, without anybody having any real proof as to who Satoshi Nakamoto really is, that no other network can compete with. And this is what gives Bitcoin its fundamental value as money, as a medium exchange that no one controls. Because the network has grown completely organically. It's not like Charlie Lee who said, yeah, I started Litecoin. Oh yeah, just thought it was a bit of a, just created it for a bit of fun. Well, I mean, what an absolute joker. Yeah. So anyway, on the, let's just remind ourselves what Bitcoin needs in order to stay neutral. So maybe Michael Saylor might be watching this, who knows, but I've got some funny videos to go over regarding him very soon. So yeah, here we go. The protocol set in stone. Let's open up this article here. Hopefully it won't take too long. Here we go. Good to see ya. Bitcoin is protocol set in stone. So the Bitcoin protocol has been said to be set in stone from day one, but what does that actually mean and how? The Bitcoin protocol is like numbers. Numbers have been described as the only universal language. The concept has been there from the beginning, so the creative part was how they were expressed. Whether numbers are Roman numeral, Latin numeric, or Hindu Arabic, the concept remains the same. This is what Satoshi Nakamoto meant when he said the Bitcoin protocol is set in stone. The concept has always been there. It's just that he was able to express it in the Bitcoin white paper and apply it to digital technology. This is why alterations to the protocol cannot be made, because alterations simply will not work. Decentralization and the value of the Bitcoin network has been listed and explained below in the most basic form. So these are the 5 pillars that Bitcoin follows, the 5 pillars of decentralization. So accountability. Satoshi designed Bitcoin with a chain of signatures to hold all users of the system to account. This way no one could do anything on the network that no one else would know about. This is what makes all users equal to one another. And this is why when a group of developers tries to wrestle control of Bitcoin, the first thing they do is attack the signatures. They either segregate the signatures or they tamper with the signatures, making them schnorr signatures, or whatever. It is those signatures that hold these power-hungry egomaniacs to account, which is what they don't like. And this is why the chain of signatures is so important. Number 2, a locked protocol. So if it cannot be changed, then no one can control it. Infinite scale. This means that there is always a new market to compete for. Competition. This is essential for a decentralized network. If there is no competition, then there is simply collusion for self-interest and not for that of the network and its users. Without infinite scale capability, new market cannot be created, and the only alternative is to take market share away from other competitors, which leads to centralization. And last but not least, a fixed supply, meaning no one can control it. And so on the 24th of August, 2017, a group of developers called Blockstream, who were financed to the tune of $100 million by organizations that have suspiciously close links to the Federal Reserve, which is a privately run enterprise which prints the money for the most powerful nation on earth, join the dots there. They decided they would segregate the signatures. That's a fancy way of saying separate the signatures. So for example, it's a bit like saying, right, this is your contract, you sign that, but what we're going to do is we're going to rip the signatures off and we'll store the contract in one cabinet and we'll just store the signatures in another. Now with that contract without the signatures on it means absolutely diddly squat. Since they implemented it, it means that they now have complete control of the network. And for any of you who don't believe me or don't think that Blockstream does actually have control of the network, well, I've got something that you need to listen to right here. This is a clip from an interview that Samson Mow, who is the Chief Strategy Officer of Blockstream, did with Simon Dictwit and Max Kaiser when he admitted that Blockstream have control of BTC. So just have a listen to this. Here we go.
Bitcoin was created by the central bankers that enslave you today. It is their scapegoat.
How do you answer those, Max and Stacey?
I think the evidence is clear that they do not control it. There's 10 years, almost 11 years now of track record.
Yeah,
Blockstream controls it.
I'm sorry, what? What?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Who does?
I'm sorry, what? Who does? What?
Blockstream.
Oh!
All right.
I was looking at you when I said that.
Yeah, I'm a block. I have a spy. I'm one of the spies. No. So this, it's an interesting. There's.
Yeah, it's an interesting. That is why I say BTC is got a fundamental value of 0, which means its price is purely speculative, the biggest speculative bubble in history. So it just simply means that when knowledge catches up with speculation, the speculative price will soon match its fundamental value at 0. Way more efficient. Rock and roll. There we go. Right then, guys, 1 hour 18 minutes. I'm going to need to go and get my dinner and upload this onto Streamanity. So as ever, I hope you enjoyed the show, and as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, joy given, same time tomorrow. Catch you laters. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. Buy BSV.live. The best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and watch the full episode on Streamanity for just 20 cents. Go to www.satoshi.tv. See the link in the description below. Bitcoin, one world, one chain.
Yeah, one vision.